Hey everyone, it's Mary Ann Pizzatola, President of New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. I was asked to do this video to kind of give you the differences between a retiree and an active employee. So I'm going to make this a super brief video just for those people, well, mostly for you actives, that don't know the difference between your rights or your benefits and ours. So an active retiree, you have health care, we have health care. You have one plan, usually it's a GHI plan or a HIP plan. Most of us in retirement, if we're not Medicare eligible, we usually have GHI because it was our free plan. And if you're Medicare eligible, you have Medicare, which we pay $178 a month this year for. And we also have our Medigap or supplemental plan, which is typically our GHI because it is still free to us. Well, it was until the city and the unions tried to force us into this Medicare Advantage plan. And if we opted out, would have had to pay premiums to keep what we've had for 50 years for free. So we have a Medicare eligible Medicare and a supplemental. And that the Medicare covers your first 80%, your Medigap covers your last 20%. So our city health plan really covers very little of our medical bills, and our plans are way less expensive than yours. We used to have PICA. We don't have PICA anymore. You have PICA. We don't. If we needed a psychotropic and injectable cancer asthma medication, we actually have to put that through our plan. If it doesn't get covered or actually go into our union welfare fund plans, then we end up falling into what we call the donut hole, and you don't get your coverage back until you've reached a certain dollar amount, which is like $6,500. This kind of on the expensive side. Once you're no longer an active or a non-Medicare retiree, you lose your PICA benefits. You've had copays. We never did until, again, the unions put them in place on us. This year, they actually took effect January 1st. So $15 copays for our medical visits, no caps. We have never had that before, ever. You pay premiums. We do not pay a premium for our health care. We wanted to stay in our GHI after this Medicare Advantage, after they introduced this Medicare Advantage plan. We didn't want to stay in it. We were told if you opt out to stay in your current plans, you will be paying a premium. For the GHI plan, it was almost $200 a month per person. So you 200, your spouse 200 is like $194.40 per person. That is a lot of money to ask for a retiree to pay. We have DC 37 retirees, civilian retirees that make on an average under $20,000 a year. And where this is super dangerous is some of these union presidents who are making six figures, like Mr. Mulgrew, who makes over $300,000 a year. A DC 37 retiree makes an entire year what Mr. Mulgrew makes in, 3 weeks. So this is a serious thing to be putting upon us at this stage of our lives. In your GHI, you have to stay within the GHI network. In Medicare, we have no network. Medicare, as long as the doctor accepts Medicare, it doesn't matter if they take a GHI plan. As long as they accept Medicare, the GHI supplemental will pay the remaining 20%, no questions asked, whether you're in a state where there's no GHI or not. Prior authorizations. You have prior authorizations. Under Medicare, we do not. That becomes an issue as you get older or you have healthcare issues and you want to be able to see your physician and have a procedure done timely with something that could be more life-saving or health quality of living makes a difference in quality of life, where we've never had that before. Medicare Advantage, the plan that the city and the unions were trying to force us into, would have imposed that upon us, as well as networks that were not real. The Medicare Advantage plan that the city and the unions wanted to put us into, while they say that as long as your doctor accepted Medicare, they can accept this plan. Operative word, can, not will. They can accept, or they may accept. We have run into situations where we have over 500 affidavits in our court docket from retirees all around the country who Empire Blue find care tools show that their doctors were in the plan, but when they called their doctor said, nope, I'm sorry, we take no Medicare Advantage plan. Or, I'm sorry, if you take that plan, we won't take you as a patient. So union-wise, outside the healthcare realm now, you can bargain with your union. Well, first, I don't have a union, you do. Your unions are our former unions. They owe nothing to us, we owe nothing to them. In most cases, we don't even pay a dues. There's very few unions that permit a retiree to pay a dues to them. And it's kind of more for camaraderie and connection and calendars and newsletters and things like that. Some unions, like the UFT, they can actually vote in an election for an officer, but their vote doesn't count as a full vote. It's like a half vote, and they only allow so many votes from a retired person in their election. That's not real either. So most unions, we cannot vote on officers, and we definitely can't vote on contracts. You can file a grievance. I can't. Like I said, we definitely do not have a union in retirement. There is no one to represent us. And the purpose is because under the Taylor law, you can only have a union, or a union is only permitted to negotiate for wages, hours, and work conditions. As a retiree, I don't have wages, I don't have hours, and I don't have a work condition. I don't have an employer that I could file a grievance against. So these are some of the basic differences between a retiree and an employee. And I want you to keep those things in mind when we start to come out with our next series of videos to help you understand exactly the difference between a union person active and a retiree Medicare eligible, because some very interesting things are starting to happen that you really need to pay attention to, because while this affects us now, it's going to affect you later. And if the unions and the city and the MLC are allowed to negotiate these benefits away, you're giving a give back, and you need to know that. So we're hoping you'll stand in solidarity with us and learn through this process, because we want you to be part of this and demand that the city and the unions and the MLC do not strip away your benefits or ours. Because if they're doing it to us today, when you become Medicare eligible, if you become disabled, you will be exactly in our position. When you become 65, you will be in our position. So we want you to know the difference. We want you to know what you're losing. We want you to know what you're giving up, because they're not having the conversation with you what this is about. And we think it's important. So until next time of our next video, thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon.